Welcome to the Digital Loctician Podcast, a place for you to feel seen, heard, and empowered along your lock journey. I'm your host and digital loctician, Jocelyn Reneé. Peace, family. Welcome to another edition of the podcast. I am so grateful for your presence here today. I just want to double check and make sure that everyone can hear me because we got this audio set up. So if you are here live in the chat, just press A1 for me. And while you're at it, go ahead and check in and let me know where you're at, where you're checking in from. And as you can see from the title, we will be talking about in a community style. So like everyone here together, chatting about the best, worst advice for locks. Because it's something we got to talk about. I feel like everyone has an opinion. And everyone has shared some advice that they feel like goes across the board. So take, for example, everything ain't for everybody. Have you heard that before? Everything ain't for everybody. If you've ever heard that advice given as it relates to hair specifically, because I know that applies to everybody, go ahead and press a 2 in the comments. Everything ain't for everybody. Press a 2 in the comments if you've ever heard that before. While you catch up with me, I want to invite some folks onto the podcast to join me live to talk about this particular topic. So if you're up for coming on the stage, if you will, and you are joining me on YouTube, definitely click the link. I'm about to post it right now. Click the link in the chat. All right, to join me live. So hopefully some folks in the community will check in and want to come up and share. But nonetheless, I have some things we got to talk about. All right. This episode, of course, is sponsored by Crown Elements. Crown Elements being your hair care line for locks, helping you to celebrate your unique texture and beauty in a space, in a world that would otherwise tell you that having locks is not okay. Crown Elements is here to celebrate you. So with that being said, if you've never tried Crown Elements, maybe you love Crown Elements and you're looking for a little something, make sure you head over to crownelements.com, enter the code DLP at checkouts, and you'll get a little something from me to you, all right, from crownelements.com. Now, when we talk about hair care ain't for everybody, and I see some people in the chats like, oh my gosh, yes. Lynn says, people told me not to get diamond parting. They lied to you. Those is lies, okay? I've heard that too. So we're going to talk about it. I want you in the chat to share the best, worst advice you've heard. What is something that someone has told you about locks that turned out not to be true, or just turned out, not to be applicable to you? Put that in the comments. One of the things that really stood out for me was everything ain't for everybody. Like, I hear this all the time in my YouTube comments. Back in the day when I had Instagram, they're like, oh, you're sharing this advice, but that doesn't apply to everything. Everything is not for everybody. Yes, and right? Hair, locks is hair. There are some fundamental things that apply to hair that will work for everybody, in my opinion. And look at Lynn. Thank you, Lynn, for hopping on with me. Let me bring you up here. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining. Can you tell us where you're checking in from?
I'm checking in from the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia.
Down south. I love it. How long have you had your locks?
I've had my locks for 19 months.
19 months? Coming on 2 years. They looking good.
Coming on 2 years. I know, but I got some concerns I want to ask you about that I've been trying to get some answers to. So I absolutely love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you. So what have people been telling you? What have you heard? What's been going on?
Okay, first of all, I have soft hair and my hair is fine.
I can tell. I see it already.
So I just got this done Friday. It's very fun. And so a lot of people was telling me, well, your hair will never lock. Your hair is too soft. It's not going to look good. Then I got the diamond parting. And now people are saying diamond parting is not good. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not starting over. So what do I do?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
can't start over. I don't want to start over. No.
I mean, so what I will say, right? So we don't want to take this out of context. Not
Right.
wanting to start over, I feel like is some best worst advice, right? Some people are like, I'll never start over. I done started over 3 times. Okay. And one thing I can tell you, starting over is absolutely fun, except that part where you've had locks, you don't have locks now, and then people are looking at you. You're looking at other people with locks, like, what's up? And they're like, why are you looking at me like that? You just got some old twists, not knowing that you're starting back. So I get it. I get it. When it comes to diamond parts, and I'm so glad you brought this up, I
Yeah.
would say diamond parts are one of the parting systems that for people like us that have really fine hair, or we would otherwise see a lot of scalp with our hair, the diamond
Yeah.
parts gives you this illusion that your hair is
Yeah.
thicker. But
Yes. I love it.
what I want to say, the consequence or the downside to diamond parting can be, and this all depends on your foundation and how it started. The
Okay.
downside with diamond parting is how large the parts are. Your locks look like they are traditionally sized, and you don't have like wicks. Have you heard of wicks? Have you seen wicks before?
Yeah, I don't have wigs.
You
No.
don't have wicks, right? The wicks that give you those really large parts, you have about 12 locks on your head. When your locks are parted that big, the diamond parting system is not a parting system that you want to utilize,
Okay, so I have
because you
48.
every time you twist your locks, you end up over directing hairs in the corners, and it
Mm-hmm.
will cause those areas to thin out.
Oh, okay.
But you're not in that space.
Okay, I have 48. I have 48 locks.
Yeah. Why did people tell you that it wouldn't be good? Like, where's that coming from?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, because my hair is thinner, and I definitely didn't want. I had tried the brick parting like some years
Oh,
ago, and it just did not work for my hair.
it was scalpy,
So
I'm sure. All the
it
scalp.
was scalpy. It was disgusting, actually. I hated
Not
it.
disgusting.
But with
Not
the
disgusting.
diamond, it just didn't work for me. So
Yeah.
it didn't work right. So with the diamond part, I only have to, like, I've only had it retwisted only 3 times this year. So I'll probably get it retwisted one more time. But I love it. But people was just like, oh my God, it's not gonna work for you. Your hair's not gonna lock. You're gonna look like an old lady. And I'm just like, what the hell? Why are these people telling me this? Like,
Haters, man. Haters gonna hate.
right. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
And they look so good on you. They look so
Oh,
great on
thank
you. Like,
you. I love
people,
it.
I
And
feel
people have
like
said,
that
don't
a lot of
color
the
it.
bad advice comes from people not knowing, or having a bad experience and then trying to like push that on you. Like, it's always going to be
Right.
bad just because they had one bad experience.
Yeah. And then people are saying, don't color it. You're going to make sure your locks up, they're going to thin out and all this type of stuff. So I'm scared to color it. I'm almost
As
50
you
and I
should
want
be.
to get it colored. And so, right. So, I mean, what should I like?
This is
I don't
coming from a
know.
lady that got the green locks. Okay,
I know
I feel like this is
I
my
love them.
second year with, they're supposed to be aquamarine. They're the green now because I'm letting the color fade, but I always strive to talk people out of color. Like, I've done it, and one thing that I feel like I don't think we talked about recently, but we just talked about it on the blog actually.
Okay.
Locks are intended to give you freedom. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things with coloring, it puts a restriction on you. Puts a
Right.
restriction on, because you have to be very diligent with your maintenance. Otherwise, yes, they will be damaged. You have to be
Yeah.
really mindful of the upkeep, because you're more often people color their hair because you're not happy with the way your new growth is growing in. Maybe the salt and
Mm.
pepper silver is like
Yeah.
giving you some pause, or what have you.
Yeah.
It's going to always come in. That's your hair color. And so you're always going to be battling against, okay, now I color my hair, now I got to go get it. It's almost like, remember we had relaxers? Did you ever have a relaxer?
Yes, ma'am. Hated it.
And that new groove started to come in. You're like, oh, it's getting crunchy. Oh, I got to run back. And it's
Right.
like, no, I feel like.
Oh my God. So no color. You think no color? I mean, I just got this little, I got this for my birthday. It's a semi-color and it's fading. It was like an eggplant. So, but my loctician is really trying to get me to color it. I'm like, she young. I'm like, girl, I don't know. But that green on you is so tempting. I absolutely love it. I look at you all the time. I love that green on you. I do.
Thank you, but it's about to be gone. It's about to be gone because it's just I can't. I'm done. It's a lot of work. Okay, and I want my freedom. I just natural hair color. I really color my hair to be an example that you can color locks without bleach. It still be healthy, but at the same time, it requires a lot of work. One of that best worst advice is that you have to use bleach to color your locks. You ever heard
true.
that?
Yes, ma'am.
You gotta put bleach to color your locks.
Yeah.
And that is some of the worst advice. Like it's one of the it's true. Just like when I started Sister Locks. I started Sister Locks because people were saying, like with your hair, I couldn't get Sister Locks.
Right.
Watch me. Let me show you that somebody that has naturally fine hair can have Sister Locks.
Okay.
And people are saying you can't color your locks. You can't color locks without bleach. Watch me. Yes, you can. You can maintain it. It looks good. It looks vibrant. But in both instances, it was a lot of work.
Really? Okay, but I like the perspective where you put it, like the freedom of it, because I did get it for the freedom. And I think a lot of people now, and I love locks, but more people are just really pushing for the neatness of the locks. I love when my locks get old. My mom be like, girl, twist them fat. Like, it's time for a retwist. I'm like, Mom, it's only been 3 weeks. Like, can my hair just, only been 3 weeks. I don't need a retwist. I just got to retwist it. Like, so I like it. I like the fuzzy. Now, mine is taking a little bit long. It's really extra fuzzy, but I don't mind that. And people just, be like, it needs to be neat. I'm like, no, it doesn't need to be neat. I love the freedom of it. So thank you for that perspective. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you so much for popping on. We're going to get into some of this, some more best, worst advice. All right.
I'm going to keep looking. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So y'all, as Lynn, I feel like, and in the comments, one of the things that Michelle pointed out was that your hair texture isn't meant for locks. How many of y'all have heard that? Like if you have really soft hair, you have mixed texture, you can't get locks. Or here's the advice. Your hair is too good for locks. Press a 3 if you've ever heard that. Your hair is too good to get locks. I feel like I heard that all the time, every single time I started my locks, every single time I had someone in my chair who had really soft, curly hair. One of the things they always battled was people around them telling them that their hair was too good to start locks or to have locks, as if having locks is something that is, it's like a step down with your hair, when in fact, it's one of the most natural ways you can wear your hair. It affords you a lot of freedom. And I feel like to the point of people that often share this message, locks is like low-key the best protective style if you want to go there, right? So when it comes to thinking about the best, worst advice you maybe see, people have the best of intentions sometimes, but that advice is so wrong. You have white people hair, your hair won't lock. Listen, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, okay, your hair won't lock. You leave it, like my daughter right now got an afro, and I don't think she just been putting her bonnet on and get up and go. That thing turning into some locks. Okay, you leave your hair long enough, it's going to lock up. Okay, so that it's not good advice. The other piece of advice, and let me know if you've heard this before, retwist your locks if you want them to thicken up. Press a 4 if you've heard this. don't retwist your locks if you want them to thicken up. Like stop my hair is thinning. Not me. There's a situation where your hair is thinning and you post it online or you share it with a friend and their advice is like, oh man, you need to stop. You need to stop doing stuff to your hair. Just let it be. Don't do nothing to it. You don't touch it. It's going to thicken up. Press a 4 if you've ever heard that from somebody. I know there's going to be a lot of 4s because one of the things I used to do when I had Facebook and I had Instagram is go into these forums and try to like combat this advice. No. In a very small subset of people, and oftentimes these people are the ones who are the example of locks, who get the attention and then the what I want to say, like the media presence with locks, the people that have the naturally tightly coiled hair where their hair all tangles and meshes together, or in our lock world, we say the hair grows with the locks. Those are the people that are telling you, leave your hair alone. Don't touch it. Your hair is thinning. Just, hey, let it be free, semi-free form. You have no problem. It's going to thicken up. And you mess around and them locks is hanging on by threads. They dangling. The thinning starts to spread and get wider. Neglect is not part of the recipe for healthy hair and cultivating locks. I repeat, neglect is not part of the recipe for cultivating healthy locks. And if you want to share your perspective on this, I'm going to post it in the YouTube comments again. Definitely would love to have you share your thoughts here. Don't retwist your locks if you want them to thicken up. When you have thinning hair and it appears that the hair is very much detached from your locks, like it's growing around your locks, not retwisting or not reintegrating the hair into the lock will cause it to thin more because of one key thing. Who here knows what that key thing is? What is that term? What happens when the hair at the roots does not match or connect with the hair that is growing in your locks? Like, what is being compromised? Anybody know? Anybody care to share their perspective? We're gonna bring Dakota up here.
Hi. I totally just pressed this link and was like, let's see what's gonna happen. But
you live.
I don't want to say unfortunately, but I am one of the people who has hair that grows into the lock. Like this has been
yes, look how full that is. When was the last time you had your hair retwisted?
Month and a half, probably 2. I honestly just whenever I feel like
my hair does not grow by lock. Look at this. It's disconnected completely, and it's been a month.
Yeah, but I definitely will say that it's important to find the regimen that works for you in that case. Especially when you're starting your locks, just making sure that you're getting that routine from the beginning. And then if you end up having locks that can just stay within the roots, that's great,
right,
but
just go.
You don't want to sacrifice your locks for the sake of it. And early on, I definitely saw videos like that, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And like, I lucked out there, but imagine how many people that haven't for that exact same reason. So it's like,
exactly,
you have to find what works for you. And like, even though I could go long periods without retwisting, I still prefer to just out of habit. So like, it's definitely a weird saying. It does not always thicken your hair. Like, this does not thicken my locks itself. Just like being like this, it's just how I keep my hair. So it's like, it's a very weird concept that I've seen both on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. That's like, oh, just leave your hair alone. It's like, my hair is locked at the same thickness and frequency no matter how much I leave it alone. So I'm not even sure where that came from. So thank
Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing that, Dakota. Like, truly, it is so true. Like, your hair is naturally thick. It is naturally going like that. Like, where it comes from is people grooming their locks, palm rolling or interlocking and making it really tight. And so then when you stop doing that, of course it's going to expand. So what does that expansion look like? Like it's thicker.
Yep.
Right? And so it's just the best, worst advice, I'd say.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that.
No, of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So y'all be very careful. Michelle coming through with the answer. You are compromising your part to lock ratio. Okay. That is the ratio of the hair at your root, the base that is supporting the strength of all of this hair. Like I pull this lock out, this, dang, wish I had my tape measure here. She about 14 inches, right? Here, it's all thick down here where I had my baby and all my hair shedded. So when I got a little stress during that little 2020 period, so it kind of got a little tight here and we thicken it back out. But y'all, it's a ratio of your roots to the length of your lock. If you starting to lose hair, like all this hair starts to come out my lock and I have all this length to my lock, what do you think is going to happen at the root? You think the root is going to be like, oh, that's cool. I'll just hold on to 7 years of hair with my 22 strands. No, it's going to start to thin even more. It's going to often lead to inflammation, which leads to scarring of your follicles, which leads to hair loss, which leads to breakage, which leads to worst case scenario, we're talking alopecia. All right. And so that advice, don't twist your locks if you want them to thicken up, is some of the best worst advice, I'd say, in my opinion. Now the other topic, not topic, because we're talking about the best worst advice stemming from everything ain't for everybody and other loaded statements. One of the statements that I hear all the time, and I'm so curious of your thoughts, is castor oil will grow your hair. Press a 5 if you have heard that castor oil, whether it be Jamaican black castor oil, traditional castor oil, lavender flavored castor oil, rosemary infused castor oil will grow your hair. Press the 5 if you heard that. I imagine that there will be a lot of 5s. This one I feel like has been circulating around for a really, 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 really long time. And in fact, just last week, I was on a virtual consultation and they were telling me that they were experiencing some thinning along the hairline. And so they got the advice to use castor oil. And would you believe it's been working? They've been rubbing the castor oil in their locks for a few weeks and it's been just growing their hair back. And I'm like, stop it. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. What's her name? Sister Scientist. I don't even know if she's out still anymore, but back in the day when I was a natural hair blogger and we had the blogging scene, Sister Scientist, there was a cosmetic chemist who used to share scientific based or backed information about some of the hair myths that were out there. One of them, and it's on my blog. If you want to run it back, head over to digitalloctician.com. There is no evidence that castor oil or biotin will grow your hair. Yet a lot of people use it and believe it. What is true and what I do believe happens is because you are experiencing thinning, because you are experiencing breakage, and you are actively working to fix it and not worrying about it because stress can cause breakage, that helps. Plus, one of the things or something that happens when you're experiencing thinning and hair loss is that you have a lack of nutrients that are going to that area to support the growth of that hair. So it starts thinning, the growth is slow, the The hair follicle is not producing like it normally would. But when you start to take action, you are massaging your hair. You are bringing blood flow into that area. Maybe if you have some herbs, those herbs are, helping to activate some of those follicles. But one of the reasons why, the biggest reason why I don't believe castor oil is going to grow your hair is because it's too thick. Another one of the, I would say, beauty hair care influencers that I heavily follow, she's a dermatologist, Dr. Yolanda Lindsay. She had this quote, or not even the quote, she would often talk about, and it's also something I learned in cosmetology school, hair loss for the Black community specifically. It is not so much that your follicles are not working, it's that they are clogged. And they are clogged from years and years and years of using poor products. Think grease, think Vaseline. How many of y'all, your family, the cure for anything ashy or dry was Vaseline? Press a 6 in the comments. If the cure in your family, just go get some Vaseline. Go get that Vaseline. Rubbing it on your face, putting it in your hair. Oh, your hair looking dry. Go get that grease. Same type of product. That was the cure. And so for years, I remember when I used to sit down and get my hair braided, grease my scalp down through every single part, lining it up, making sure it's nice and shiny. I remember that. When I got my sister locks, the transition from natural hair to now having sister locks, particularly this hair locking system where products are not allowed, my hair was on fire. My scalp was pissed. It was dandruff. It was flaking. It was itching. I didn't even know how I was going to make it. And it's honestly where the Pure Scalp from Crown Elements, shameless plug, it was created because my scalp was going through it. And when I was going to my consultant, I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like my scalp, like I don't know. And she's just like, it's normal. It's supposed to happen. I'm like, why is it supposed to happen? Why would anybody pay this much money for this to happen? And it clicked for me when they said that your scalp is doing this because it's detoxing from all the years and years that your scalp had to try to counteract all the grease and oil and products that you had to put in your hair in the name of making it shiny, in the name of making it healthy. Because we have this belief that because it's shinier, it's better. When in reality, our hair is not meant to shine. Not to say it's not meant to shine, but our hair pattern, our curl pattern, it naturally diffuses light. You see these commercials where people are just like waving their hair and the light bounces off of it and it's all shiny. That's because the hair is straight, it's smooth. It ain't trying to lock. It ain't got no texture to it. It ain't got no body to it. Our hair is twisting and turning and tangling and coiling. When the light hit it, it gets absorbed into our hair. We receive that sunlight and that energy. The other hair, that straight hair it's all shine. It's just all reflection, pushing all that away. Embrace your hair absorbing the light. Embrace it not being super shiny. Embrace your scalp trying to tell you something. So if you find yourself in a space of your hair thinning, maybe you're experiencing some breakage at the roots, instead of reaching for them real heavy oils in the name of hair growth and growing your hair back, maybe just try to massage it. Maybe you put a little moisturizer. We just talked yesterday about moisturizers. Put a little moisturizer there and massage your scalp every single night. I even have a video on my channel about how to properly give yourself a scalp massage. 5 minutes. Giving yourself a scalp massage in areas that are, a little problematic with some water, water-based product. See if that changes. before you go to the oils. We've been taught this for so long, and it's just not true. And so yeah, I see y'all. Sorry, I'm you just said, go ahead, preach. I'm gonna hop off a soapbox, but I mean, it was on my heart, y'all, because it's just, for so long we were taught these bad hair care practices, and we're this bad advice, and I'm not gonna say bad advice, worst advice has been spread and perpetuated, and nobody speaks out about it. They just go along with the flow, and it's just like, this. I'm not gonna say this is why, but I believe it's a large reason why in our community we have this huge epidemic of hair loss, of alopecia, of like, you hit a certain age and things just drop off because for the lifetime, your body been battling, and all of a sudden it's just like, you know what? I give up. You're not gonna take care of it. We're not even gonna worry about it. Yeah. Kalia says, I had to cut my locks due to alopecia. Any suggestions for hair growth? Everyone says oils. I don't believe oils at all. My best advice, if you are dealing with alopecia, go to a dermatologist. That is the first step. Don't go to blogs, don't go to forums. Go to a dermatologist, and preferably a dermatologist that is versed in textured hair. Because that prescription, that compassion is going to be a little bit different. When you go to that dermatologist, in some cases, I would say have a consultation before you do any prescriptive things, before you get any injections, to see how they would go into a treatment plan, right? Like, what would be your treatment based on what's going on with me? One of the things that I observed with being a loctician, and also having clients that that ended up with alopecia or started to experience alopecia, came to me with alopecia, one of the biggest red flags were the dermatologists that immediately wanted to go with injections. Not to say anything was wrong with them. It's just like, do we need to start there first? So consultation with them. One of the things that I recommend people going to dermatologists rather than going to like a hair care professional or a loctician or a licensed cosmetologist is that typically that dermatologist or trichologist is a doctor of the scalp. They will do a microscopic analysis, because one of the things before you go down this path is finding out if your follicles are still active. Did you know that? Did you know when you're born, you have every hair follicle you will ever have on your head? And for the majority of us with naturally dark hair, it's around 150,000 hair follicles, all growing at different rates. When we experience alopecia, our hair is in a resting phase and for more follicles than normal. If your follicles stay in that state for too long, what ends up happening is that they begin to scar over. No more hair will grow. So having a microscopic analysis will let you know if the follicle is scarred or if there is still viability for hair to grow there. What if you're putting all this oil in your hair, you're doing all these concoctions and things for your hair, and the follicles are scarred? Oil's not going to help that. Scarred. But if it's not scarred and it's still active, you have other options, okay? Blood work. Again, I firmly believe in holistic hair care, meaning that because our hair, skin, and nails is part of the last system in our body to receive nutrients, if things are happening with our hair, our skin, and our nails, it's trying to tell you about something that's happening inside your body. So getting blood work done. Are you deficient in any of your minerals? And your body is like, hey, trying to tell you wasn't listening, but your hair started coming out. Okay, let's look a little deeper here. Check your minerals, check your hormones. evaluate your stress levels. There are more clues, I believe, in our hair than we give our hair credit for. And instead, we've been marketed to, we've been told, put all these products on your hair and it's going to be great. And it's like, I don't know. I'd rather have a product that's going to support me versus trying to like mask it, you know? So yeah, so that would be my suggestion. Definitely start there. We could get a little bit deeper with it in our Locs Club, which I want to invite you all to join. Locs Club is just our community that is offline with other people that have locks, or maybe freshly cut your locks. Maybe you're thinking about locks, striving to holistically cultivate their locks. Make sure they're prioritizing their wellness, make sure they are very mindful about moving their body and health as it relates to hair. If you would like to join the Locs Club, the link is below this video. If you're on YouTube, if you're on IG, head over to locgoalsclub.com. You can join. This Wednesday, we have our one of our monthly webinars, which will be talking about hair care and swimming with locks. All right, so that'll be happening on Wednesday. And you also get some cool like member perks as well, being in the Locs Club. So definitely check that out, okay? And I really and truly hope that this episode of the Digital Loctician Podcast just made you think a little bit deeper about some of that advice, some of those statements, loaded statements that people make about locks. One of them being everything ain't for everybody. Hey, you got hair. There's a fundamental aspect about hair that is kind of universal. All right. One being our hair needs water. My 6-year-old daughter, if I bring her down here, and hopefully if she's gonna do me right, because you know, being 6, they say whatever. One of the things I've purposefully been striving to instill in her is, what does our hair need? Water. And that water goes both internally and externally with our moisturizers. Okay, water-based moisturizers. If you haven't seen that video yesterday about the issue that happens with moisturizers, make sure you watch that video, okay? The other best, worst advice I feel like is, if you don't retwist your hair, it will thicken up. It's false, okay? False. And then that castor oil will grow your hair. All right, I feel like I hopped on my soapbox for that one, but hopefully you received the message that you received what I was putting down, okay? You picked up what I was putting down, rather. So yes, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Like the video. If you did, share it with a friend. And as always, I am wishing you peace, love, and good vibes. We will be here next Thursday at 8 p.m. Peace.